CD Projekt Red's big game, Cyberpunk 2077, is here, and it has controversy swirling around it. Basically, the only way that you're going to get a decent experience with the game is by running it on a good PC, an Xbox Series X, or a PlayStation 5. The last-gen consoles are kind of fucked in terms of the experience. While I understand why people are angry, I'm here to provide a reality check. Depending on how much miracle working CD Projekt Red is able to do on the last-gen console versions, those versions may never reach a baseline level of playability. I'm not here to say that CD Projekt Red is faultless, because the way in which they handled this is not perfect, and the game definitely has problems, even on top-end PCs, but I do not think that things could have been any better than they are right now. Let's consider The Witcher 3. There was already a controversy surrounding alleged graphical downgrades, which I think they eventually admitted to, if I'm not mistaken. It is speculated that partway through through development, they found out what hardware was in the next-gen consoles, and had to scale back their vision for what they wanted the game to be. Already with The Witcher 3, they were only just barely able to get it performing acceptably on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now, people are expecting a game like Cyberpunk 2077, which sets an even higher bar in terms of visuals to run without problems on those same consoles. There is no doubt in my mind whatsoever that they went into development with The Witcher 3 graphics controversy in mind and didn't want to have a repeat of that experience. The end result is a game that looks gorgeous on the best PC hardware. Unless you use the fast travel system, you will not experience any load times. Ever. The scenery is extremely dense. NPCs, cars, buildings, and environmental clutter all are loaded dynamically as you move through the world, in order to cut out all load times. In my opinion, loading all of this scenery on the fly, on consoles that have mechanical hard drives and weaker hardware, was never going to be a good idea. Now, some people are saying, well, look at games like Last of Us 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2 on the older consoles. They look amazing. Last of Us 2's story notwithstanding. I won't deny that they look good, but go and watch some 4K footage of Cyberpunk 2077 with ray tracing turned on. This game sets a new bar not only for visual quality, but also for the density of scenery, and all of that has to be loaded on the fly. You could turn off the NPCs and the vehicles completely, and the city itself would still cause these consoles to struggle, just because of how extensive and elaborate it is. That's how they eliminate loading screens, by loading all of this stuff on the fly. I did mention previously that CD Projekt Red handled this poorly. They said that it runs surprisingly well on last-gen consoles. Maybe in spite of how badly it runs, they were expecting it to be even worse, or maybe they were surprised it ran at all. And no matter what version you run, it does have a ton of bugs, mostly visual in nature. They also did not allow actual game footage until launch day. That also did not inspire confidence at all. So on top of wanting to avoid another graphics downgrade controversy, they had another problem to contend with. Because of how difficult it is right now to get one's hands on an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5, they were banking on sales from last-gen console copies to recoup development costs. Should they have hidden the performance of the last-generation console copies? No. Do I understand why they did it? Yes, I do. Couple all of this with the likely fact that they were under pressure from investors to release in time for the holidays, and they found themselves in a lose-lose scenario. Ultimately, expecting a game that looks this good With so much going on to run well on the last-gen consoles, when Witcher 3 struggled to remain playable was simply an unrealistic expectation, and while I cannot defend how CDPR handled things, I do understand it from a distant standpoint. From a business standpoint. Whew. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a good one.